Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
It's my pleasure to be on.
Now, more people are getting infected with COVID, more people are in hospitals. It seems pretty dire. So I wanted to ask you, Dr. Shabir, does the Quran offer any guidance for us moving forward?
Well, yes, the Quran tells us that everything is within the power of God. God is the one who gives health. He takes care of the ill. He's the one who gives life, and he's the one who controls whether people live or die. And because everything is under the control of God, we have great solace knowing that things are not going to get out of hand. It's always going to be within the control of God, and God knows best what he's doing, why he's doing, how much he's doing, or to put it another way, what he's permitting to happen and the extent to which he's permitting it to happen. And sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. But the Quran assures us that it will always get better, that God has a plan that we don't see. Mm-hmm. But the Quran says, Inna ma'al usri yusra, inna ma'al usri yusra. With every difficulty comes ease. With every difficulty comes ease.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that's a reassurance then, knowing that God has a plan in mind?
Yes, we sometimes don't foresee that plan, and to us it all looks very bleak. But we have great reason for being hopeful, and the Quran tells us, "La taqnatu min rahmatillah," do not despair of the mercy of God. So we know that God is merciful, and that He will not give us more than we can bear. Sometimes we are tested, and sometimes things are permitted for reasons which are best known to God. But there is always some good that comes out of it that we do not ourselves foresee.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Shabir, does the Quran say anything about how to act in this situation? You know, we're in the winter season, we're in lockdown, and COVID doesn't seem to be letting up. Does the Quran say anything about how we should behave in this circumstance?
Well, in general, the Quran tells us that our bodies on the whole are a trust from God. So we have to protect our bodies. We have to safeguard our health. We also have to safeguard the health of other people around us. So even though we ourselves may not feel sick, we could be silent carriers of the virus. So taking care of ourselves, taking care of our neighbor and friends and associates and so on, all of this is within the Quranic dictate. So while naturally we would like to go out and do more things, we would largely be confined at home because the shopping malls might be closed, and that there's nowhere to keep warm except at home. But as much as we can go out in a safe manner, it's good to be active, because the Quran tells us, وَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. People will not get except that which they make effort for. So going out, making some effort, getting some exercise as much as is possible, even within the winter season, this is all again, within what the Quran prescribes for us. But while we're at home as well, we need to be busy with good and useful activities. And there's lots for a Muslim to do. We could be reading the Quran, we could be studying it, we could be learning the language of the Quran. Even if someone is trying to learn something which normally will be described as mundane, you just simply try using your time to learn another language, using audiovisual materials to help you in a self-study. You gain some new skill, some new knowledge. All of this would be very useful ways of, these would be very useful ways of coping through the difficult period.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's very important to reach out to other people, to talk to them. Even if we can't connect with them in person, maybe we can call them, maybe we can connect with them on Skype or on WhatsApp or some other means. And also to help people, right?
Yes, absolutely. So as much as we can perform some random acts of kindness during this period, that will make us feel good. And of course, it is the Muslim thing to do, because our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was known for the service of other people. So too were the earliest Muslims. For example, Abu Bakr, the close companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So we who are trying to be good Muslims today, that's the thing to do, to perform some random act of kindness, even when things things look bad, we will feel good by ourselves because, they say when you donate, you feel great.
And interestingly enough, research shows that people who are depressed, when they help other people, when they volunteer and do acts of service for others, they feel better about themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And the Quran tells us to take care not only of ourselves, but also our neighbors. And the Quran mentions, wal-jar al-junub, the neighbor who is close to you, and wasahib bil-jamb, and the one who is beside you, and so on. So we need to look around us, and of course we need to maintain social distancing to protect ourselves and protect others from what we could be carrying. But at the same time, as much as we can be out there helping, joining with community groups and performing social services for those who are most vulnerable at this time and those who are most needy, all of these would be ways of coping through this difficult period.
And we know that the need is even greater now during COVID. People are losing their jobs, businesses are suffering. So, there is real need out there.
Yes, absolutely. And while I spoke about joining with community groups and so on, we should say something about the potential for the spread of the virus within community groups. Now, the new lockdown measures entail, for Toronto at least, that we cannot have gatherings of more than 10 persons. So it will mean that many mosques will be closed because it's very difficult to manage congregations with only 10 persons, especially if you are capable of, if you are accustomed to having congregations in the hundreds. So who do you accept and who do you turn away? And what kind of lottery system will help, to select 10 persons out of many hundreds? So with these difficulties in mind, many mosques would just simply close altogether. Some will open partially, not so much for the congregational prayers, but for people to come in and out, praying individually and leaving. So that will give some time and space for persons to come in and reconnect with God in a sacred space, or more so a quiet place, to be away from all of the hustle and bustle of daily life and just to reorient oneself in that sacred environment. So we have to do whatever we can do as communities, because the potential for spread where people gather is greater, and we need to therefore limit the congregations that we have and the number of people who will congregate at any time. We know recently with the celebration of Diwali, some people were concerned about the spread, and I read in the Toronto newspapers that at least one person received a fine after people gathered in excess during that period. Christmas is coming up, and we need to be watchful in our faith communities about the gatherings which would have been normal at this time, when people would have gathered for Christmas parties and social gatherings, end-of-year parties and so on, holiday seasons, get-togethers. All of these will have to be limited so that we, as a nation on the whole, are taking the measures that we can, and as individuals, as social groups, as community memberships, our congregations, we all have to sacrifice something. Otherwise, we will not be able to overcome the virus, but rather it will overcome us.
What sort of advice, Dr. Shabir, do you have for people who are feeling pandemic fatigue? Like, I can't deal with this anymore, so I'm just going to go about my life. I'm tired of all these precautions, wearing masks, physical distancing. I'm just going to enjoy for a while.
Well, two things. One is that we cannot give up now. We have come this far. We have made the sacrifices. We cannot throw away all of that and let it all go for nothing. But we need to endure a little bit longer. A vaccine is in the horizon by the grace of God, and we hope that before long we will all get over this. But what we need to continue and finish the race. We can't stop halfway now. The other thing to be aware of is that if we let our guards down, the numbers which we are noticing now will actually skyrocket. In fact, the second wave turns out to be more fearsome than was once feared.
Yes.
And the worst case scenario are things like the Spanish flu, which wiped out large segments of our past populace. So we don't want that to happen now. We have to do everything we can to curb the spread of the virus as much as we can.
Dr. Shabir, what about people who think that COVID is a grand conspiracy?
That's funny in the light of the evidence that we see. People are dying around us due to COVID-19. I've attended funerals of people who passed away with COVID-19. So this is not a joke. This is really something serious, and people cannot just simply have their heads in the sand and convince themselves that this is nothing real. It is real, and everybody has to do whatever they can within their ambit to help curb the spread of the virus. So as Muslims, we need to wash our hands regularly. That's in our teaching. We need to practice good hygiene. That's in our religious teachings as well.
Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.